Hey guys, what's going on? Back again, and we're gonna go through a question-ish. We're gonna dedicate the whole episode to it. So when I was talking about doing a video about my custom cab, which we did last week, I was also asked if I could do some studio tips because you see things around the room and you kind of wanted to know about them. Some of the things that I do and why I do them, and you may see on camera or off camera. So one of the things that are probably always in view that you do see are obviously the prima acoustic panels. So here are the panels that are up all around the room. This is a 1x1 block, but you can see how thick it is. It's got nice beveled edges. You know, the corners are done okay. But yeah, this is what this stuff is made of. And it's pretty dense, and it will block sound great. What it does is it takes the reflections out of the room. So when you clap, you don't hear all that echo and vibration as much. So the point is to have these up to help with the sound. A big issue with small studios or just in general is bass traps. So these corner pieces right here are actually on an angle to stop the bass frequencies from just kind of hiding in the corners. I didn't put anything in the corners up here, but those 4-foot panels are basically in the middle of the room around where your ears are. So what you want to do, whereas you'd line up your monitors with your ears, you'd kind of do the same thing with the padding around the room. You do it where it calls you to hear those reflections. I don't have anything on the ceiling above my head. The ceiling's actually kind of low. I'm 6'1", the ceiling's about 6'5". So the room itself is not that large. I built it myself, and maybe I'll do an episode on that. I double walled it. I put soundproofing in. So yeah, maybe that's for a different episode. I've got carpets on the floor, but it is a wood floor below me. The other thing you'll see in the room is I do have guitars hanging up, and I've got guitars on stands, but these white pieces on all of the headstock holders. It's just old t-shirts that I've ripped up. So undershirts or just old white t-shirts, red t-shirts, it doesn't really matter, but it protects the nitro from rubbing off on some of those hangers. So I try to keep all my guitars as nice as I can. And this is just a step further, but I just cut off strips of old t-shirts and I put them on all the hangers just to protect them. I also put them on the stands as well because I don't trust any of that foam. Crazy, maybe, but hey, it makes me feel better. Another thing I do in the studio that you do not see on camera is that I put rugs underneath all of my cabinets. What that does, it puts a slight break between the cabinet and the floor. Sound travels through everything. So like I said, I double walled the studio so the ceiling is low because there's actually 2 ceilings. So it's a room inside of a room. And the thought is that sound will travel at any point it's connected. If you build a room inside of a room, but you start connecting studs to the outer room from the inner room, the sound will just travel through those beams and carry out. It's kind of the same concept. I just put my cabs on rugs, and they're either old bathroom rugs that we're not using anymore, or they're on the main rugs in the room. And that helps with reflection. It helps from sound transference. A lot of the bass gets taken away and causes less rumble in the room. So I can actually hear what's going on versus just, shaking. Something else you don't see, or at least that often, I have prima acoustic monitor foam. So again, same concept, helps focus the sound a little bit more. The most optimal setup I could come up with was to, follow what they tell you, is make sure that the monitors are here, they're separated from your stand, because again, the sound is going to be more focused, etc. A couple other things you just don't see that tips if you're building your own studio. I have these old foam, they're Aerolex, or RLX, or whatever it's called. The 1x1 wedges. And in a prior house, I had these all over the walls in specific places just to help block a lot of the reflections when we would have rehearsal in the band I was in at the time. And I didn't want to glue the panels to the walls, and these aren't glued either. They are put on metal brackets and put onto the wall so I can move them, reuse them, etc. I took foam backer board, which you could buy anywhere. My wife just happens to be a graphic artist and had a lot of these old posters, so I just used that. I cut them into strips and I glued the foam to the backer board so then I could nail up the backer board wherever, take them down, put them up, because they want you to glue everything and I don't want to glue it because I want to reuse it. I obviously don't have any of these visible in the studio, but what I do is I put them along the walls behind open back cabinets. So all that sound that goes out the back of the cabinet hits that, and again, it takes away some of the reflections, some of the oomph of what I'm playing in here, because again, the room's really not that big. So I put those in and around cabs, or I use them as gobos, which is just a separator in between 2 different amps or whatever. So it's less noise in between them and you can kind of isolate your recording a little bit better. So that's one thing I do. Some of the other things, you find these neat little totes or cases and I put cables in them. It's more of a tidy way to do it. Obviously, you can see I've outgrown the one little one I had, so I got to get another one, but keep a couple of those hidden in the room so I can grab cables easily. One of the other things, I have one of those Home Depot $30, $40 whatever racks right here beside me that's next to my 212s right here, and then up along the wall is a 4-tier rack that I hold 4 amps on, or multiple ones if they're small guys. But for $30 it holds a lot, and it holds a lot of weight too, which is awesome. But I have one of those stupid deal of the day Musician's Gear power strips, and all I do is I plug power cables from all my amps into that. So like this whole side of the room is on that one outlet. Now I'm never powering more than 2 at a time, so I'm not really worried about power surges or anything like that. It's just easy for me that they're all on the rack, plugged into one source. I can turn on that one source, turn on my amp, and I'm good. I'm not constantly fiddling with plugs, this, that, and the other thing. But there are just some things that I do for sound purposes or for keeping gear nicer or organized. So I hope that helps. If you have any tips or tricks or things you do in your home studio or in your rehearsal space, I'd love to know what they are. You know, let's share best practices, as they say. As always, thanks for watching. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Many more videos to come. Don't miss one sub.